Good afternoon.
Bro.
Welcome to your Footy Fantasy podcast. How you all doing today? Hope everyone is good. I'm here today with Trudy. Trudy, how are you doing?
I'm blessed, bro. We
That's
thank
good.
God. We
That's
thank
great.
God, man.
Yeah, well, if you're best, that's definitely better than Manchester United is.
Amen.
Definitely better than Manchester United is. Well, if you're
Amen.
tuning in, we're on YouTube at Footy Fantasy. Instagram is the same at Footy Fantasy, and on Twitter we are Footy 80 Fantasy. So let's jump right in. Let's dive in immediately. No time to waste here. Let's
Not at
go
all.
straight. Did you watch the game yesterday, Manchester United Newcastle?
I did. I sure did. I sure did. I guess you want me to start? I
Yeah,
guess.
go ahead. Yes, please.
Okay. Um, where do I even start it, first of all? To be fair, I mean, a lot of people are angry at the game and how the thing went. For me, is I did not expect anything crazy to happen, anything out of the ordinary. I wasn't like, if we had won or got something very good out of that game, like I would have. If we had tied that game, or got anything out of that game at home in St James Park, considering the fact that have they lost any game in there? I don't even know if they've lost any game at home yet. I'm not sure. Maybe one at the most, but these guys, Newcastle has been phenomenal at home. I'm not
That's
using
right.
that to. I'm not using that to excuse what took place yesterday, right? I would say a few things is that I guess if we're talking directly about the game itself, right? Um, what is there to say? Honestly speaking, it's I see what we're trying to do. We're trying to pass out the back. There's a reason why we have a Shaw. We have Shaw at the back there because Ten Hag feels more comfortable with how he handles the ball versus the rest of the players that we have. And we're looking to play that transition style of football that you see with a City, with an Arsenal, and things like that. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Newcastle is arguably the top pressing team in the league. Top three at the very least. Like these guys, I mean, we saw what they did with PSG. We have seen it all. We have seen what they did with City. We saw what they did with Arsenal. And they're one of the top pressing teams and things like that. And I think even though it was expected, what annoyed me the most from the game was the fact that when you see that we cannot pass out the back throughout the first half, we got away with murder. We couldn't pass out the back, and we lost. We had a lot of opportunities where we almost got killed, but for some reason, Ten Hag did not want to make any adjustments. And this is, I mean, the same thing happened. I wouldn't even say the same thing happened to Arsenal because it was the same pressing situation. We're trying to pass out the back. The difference with the Arsenal situation was that at least we had some breathing space. We're able to at least make it through somehow make it through some of that press. Of course, I think we had Martinez then still, but still, like we're able to make it through that press. But with Newcastle, we could get out of that press, and I figured that maybe at some point, maybe try the route one football, try some. Surely we are going to try something else, but for the entire 90 minutes, the man stuck to his gunner and kept going with it. And to say that is what pissed me off more than anything yesterday. Than anything. Like that was just what got to me more than anything. And of course, I can pick on individuals and more intricacies on why our system might not be working, but I'll give you a chance to talk a little bit.
First thing I don't know. I don't know. First thing I'll say is, man, you're welcome to the train, man. You nearly damn missed it. Just if you waited a little bit longer, you'd have missed this whole train. I mean, like this is one thing with Ten Hag. Is Ten Hag is very stubborn, and he does this thing where he sticks to his guns, and doesn't seem to make too many changes with or what changes you expect.
Mm.
And if his guns were working, you would understand why he's sticking to them. But your guns are kind of blunt. you need to go clean them up and shine them out. But no, he's not. He's just, it's if you'd watch Ten Hag carefully, especially this season, but going back to last season, most of the changes he makes are because of injuries. He doesn't really rotate his personnel. He sticks to the same players. He kind of sticks to the same formula every game.
That's true. That's true.
Forced to, then he changes, and so he doesn't do too many tweaking. And I personally, I do not want to focus too much on Man United today because I want to praise Newcastle for what they did. Newcastle, yeah, they were very good, and the only thing I'll say is it's a surprise. It's a compliment to Man United. They only got away with one goal
Mm-hmm.
because it could have been worse. It could have been a 3-4-0 game, and
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle would have deserved it. A draw would have not done that game any justice. Newcastle played far, far better than Man United.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, a friend of mine said yesterday that I think we should all keep quiet because nobody knows what's up with Man United, and it's getting to that stage for me where I think it's better I keep quiet because the more I talk about it, it starts to look like I'm guessing, and I don't want to keep guessing anymore. It's beginning to look like we're just trying to guess what's going on here.
I would. I think I would say one thing about Manchester United is the fact that I hate this. I hate the talk on when people make comments like, "Oh, we don't know what he's trying to do,"
Yes,
which I think is false. One, I think we can clearly see what he's trying to play. Execution is a different ball game. Executing that strategy is a different ball game. I mean, I think come yesterday, the intensity, whatever. Actually, no, I won't use yesterday example. The game we played against Galatasaray,
hmm
play with that intensity. We're beating with that kind of intensity. We're beating at least most 60-70% of the league with the way we played. We're go maybe not beat them, but at least we're giving everyone a game. We're gonna give everybody a game with that kind of intensity. The top teams maybe a little more, actually a lot more, actually. And you could clearly see he's played that transition football. We're trying to pass out the back. We're trying to build from the back through the middle, try to find our wide players and stuff like that, and let them run, make them move and things like that. Like it's the same thing Arsenal is doing, same thing all these guys are doing. But the thing is, the difference is, I personally think is one, he hasn't figured out the execution part. I've been looking for running statistics all over the places yesterday because I truly believe that even though we're defending most of the game, Newcastle probably outran us that game. And
definitely.
the level of intensity they were coming with, like you can't afford to have a luxury player when you're playing that transition football, meaning that there's one player that is waiting for that opportunity that is not really going as intense as everybody else. If you look at Arsenal when they played against Wolves yesterday, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, the front three, the level of intensity, even Odegaard, everybody for 90 minutes. For us, look at Rashford, which is an anomaly. Like he was not even like just the level of intensity you could see wasn't just there. And Martial is already a luxury player. He's not gonna run like that. When you cannot sacrifice having two of those kind of players that are not gonna give you that level of intensity. I think you're gonna execute that strategy. It's just not going to work. It's just not good, and especially with a team like Newcastle that presses with so much intensity, you're good. It's going to tell something is going to be exposed at some point, and that's pretty much
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happened.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that point. Yeah, you can't have passengers. It doesn't even matter who you're playing. Most teams you don't want to have passengers because, especially when you're at the state you are in, the top teams. The reason why the top teams is because most of the players are in the game.
Mhm.
But there's also the other side of it when because I'm not trying to defend any player, but when people single out players, sometimes I go, okay, look at the whole team. Um, where is the structure that gets the best out of these guys? If you're going to play transition, who are your top passers? You only have one particular player that is good at transition in the midfield, which is
Bruno.
Bruno. He's the only one that
Mhm.
can play progressive passes consistently. Yeah, Maynard a little bit, but Maynard is still a kid. You can play transition football and try and beat the press with a guy. To me, this guy's a perpetual passenger until he gets close to the opponent's box. What's his
Mhm.
name? McTominay. He's dead on the ball, dead without it. You know, you've got to have better players that fit in more or play a style of football that fits in better. Because the other side of it is look at the Galatasaray game you mentioned. In the Galatasaray game you mentioned, after going 2-0 up, same thing happened against Copenhagen. You're supposed to slow the game down, but you keep playing the
Yeah.
same pace and less people back into the game. So what separates top teams and other teams? It's not just the personnel, but it's the ability to play football at the right state at the right time. What I mean by the right
I
state is
agree.
something called game state, where you go, okay, look, I'm 2-0 up. I gotta kill
Mhm.
this game.
Yeah.
Kill pass it slowly. We can't do that. We can't keep the ball. So I really want to say I don't know what Manchester United is really good at because we're not even good at defending. And that for me is a bigger issue because defending is harder than striking or
Hmm.
offensive football. Though most people would disagree, I say no because one of the hardest things to do as a footballer is to get footballers to run,
Yeah.
to keep
To
running.
chase.
It's to
Yeah.
chase. Not they can run with the ball or run for the ball when they're expecting a pass,
Hmm.
but not when they're not getting a pass. They're not. So for guys to keep moving off the ball, keep moving that movement going, they have to get into the right headspace. That's another thing that separates big teams and small teams. That's why smaller teams concede a lot of goals. It's not because they're not defending well. They all know how to defend. What just
Hmm.
happens is they stop walking at a point. They just you know chill a little bit. And Manchester United is looking like there's a disconnect between what the manager wants to do, especially on defense, and what the players want to do. Because
Yeah. I agree.
with the kind of chances Manchester United concedes, other top teams do not concede those kind of chances. They tend not to. They tend not to. Like what I mean. People don't need to work hard to score. People don't need to work so hard to score. They just, sometimes it's very easy. It's
Well, I, I don't even think I agree with everything you said. I don't quite 100% agree with the part that it's always easy like that to score. As I think we've actually improved a little bit defensively,
that's fair.
but
Yeah,
but I would say but I do so really agree with you in terms of like just how we play in terms of that passing ability. Just it's not even the pass, just the IQ. Like I was sharing a video with a friend of mine yesterday or yesterday's game, and it was like you see them passing out the back and just the decision making. There was a time Shaw had the ball was passed back to him, and he had like at least 4 or 5 seconds to make a decision.
that's right.
All his angles were blocked, and normally he has space to just go back to Onana, let him move it to another wing and try again. Because if they have crowded out the middle, more than likely the wings will have some love. But this guy now decided to now let the ball run while he was drawing the defenders back and now pulled the ball back to Dalo, who now had three defenders on him.
Oh,
He
him,
now
yes,
had to blast the ball. Of course, somebody in midfield one of them Newcastle players recovered and another attack at us again. So it's like just the IQ in decision making. When you're passing back, when you're passing around the back, you have to think. You have to make your decision on what you're going to do first of all. When the ball is coming to you, and when under pressure, you need to be able to make a decision where the next pass is not putting your player under
under
pressure,
pressure. That's right.
and the pass you're going to give, you should be at least 90% sure of your execution. Whereas like it's not past your ability, there's a good chance it's not going to be intercepted. Even if it's intercepted, it's not intercepted in a dangerous area. You have to think. And that's the part that I don't feel like I feel only a handful, and I mean a very, very small handful, actually, from yesterday, to be honest, like barely two or three players really understand that concept, what that means. Like you said, McTominay is just not it. Like he can't do what he needs to do in that middle of the park. And
Yeah,
sadly, I mean, I know where his benefits come in, but if you want to play this kind of ball, like
you don't
it's
need him in the on the pitch. Yeah,
I
but
see his benefit. I see his benefits sometimes, but if you want to play a ball, this type of transition, it's going to be tough for me to justify him being there.
yeah,
Sadly,
yeah. In summary, I'm gonna say Newcastle are everything Manchester United are not. They're everything Manchester United wants to be. Manchester United is everything Newcastle was, and it's a shame to have to say that, but that's how things are right now. So let's move on. Let's talk about Man City versus Spurs. Did you see that game?
absolutely, that was a heck of a game, actually,
Yeah,
and it's after watching both teams play, like I would actually say one thing. I'll actually go a step further to say that, of course, I don't want to use this weekend to judge, but I almost feel, at least in the past 5 to 6 games, Newcastle can arguably be be the best pressing team in the league at this point. I never thought I would ever make this statement, but if I'm going off the last 5 games I've watched them play, Newcastle's press, I've just never seen anything like this, especially the fact that they're dealing with all these injuries. Forget all that, but it's just looking at City and Spurs. I know it's a lot of talent for them because they have a lot of quality where they can get out of the press, they can pass around the back and stuff like that. But like to me, compared to it seemed easier. Granted, it was a very open game, great game, open game as it was, but it just seemed easy to just everybody was it was just very free flowing football. And I also think Man City wasn't at their top
best.
level today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they were
haven't
very
been at
casual
the
to me.
they haven't been at the best for a while. But Spurs have been a bogey team for. Excuse me,
Yeah,
I have a little head cold.
sorry.
Haven't been at the best for thanks. Haven't been at the best for weeks now. Now they're going through a poor run of form, but Man City being Man City, sometimes it feels like they're rolling us into a false sense of security. Then boom, they go on a 15 game winning run
Game
and blow
streak.
everybody away. So I I'm surprised the game was so open. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that the way Spurs play. There's just so many things that surprise me about Spurs, especially this is not the Spurs I used to know. Yeah, Spurs
Hmm.
always show up against
City.
City, but these guys are really stepping up. But and this is not the first game they scored so late. I think they scored in like four or
Yeah.
five games this season, very late goals.
No,
You know,
it's
it's wow. And I can't say his last name. It's a breath of fresh
Ante
air.
Postecoglou
Postecoglou, okay.
or
Postecoglou
something
is a
like that.
breath of fresh air, something like that. Yeah, he's a breath of fresh air,
He's
and I have to give
he's
it to
a
him.
he's a risk taker. I like him for that. Like he lets the players express themselves, but I almost feel like his style of football is also going to be his own undoing. I feel like he's very, very. If you think ETH is stubborn, like Ante is proper stubborn. He is a different kind. Like he would, no matter what is happening, the players will leave that ball on the ground.
That's right.
No matter the pressure, no matter two-man down that they played against, I forget what team that was, which was even still Chelsea,
Yes,
and still insisted to play the high line, keep the ball on the ground
kept it.
throughout.
He kept it. He kept.
Mm,
Hmm.
entertaining game, even they still look threatening with two men down. But I I like the fact he lets his players express themselves, but I also feel like it would be their undoing at some point.
He might come back to haunt them.
Yeah,
Definitely, he might come back to haunt them. That's a fact. Um, s- s- Henry
yeah,
Bitokun
go
says
ahead.
they'll be all right. He believes Spurs will be all right. He also believes that Spurs are different beasts this season, though.
No,
That's fair
absolutely.
enough. Yeah.
Absolutely. I and when I say they are undoing, I think my thinking is more of like I feel like it's not even about the style of football. It's more of I feel the guy, the coach is not. He sticks to what he will keep doing the same thing.
He
And the thing is
said.
that to have that edge, you're gonna have a problem. Like you to
He
not if you don't have that edge to be able to change dynamically, you're gonna have a problem.
he said, and I quote. This is what he said. He said that he he will take that risk if it, even if it comes back to bite him, he'll keep taking the risk because the rewards will pay off. That he doesn't care if his players make mistakes. That he wants them to keep playing, being themselves, and playing like that. So that's what he
Fair enough.
said once, and I was like, okay, fair enough. That's good. You know,
Mhm.
the two teams we just mentioned, Spurs and Newcastle, compared to Man United, Spurs and Newcastle are also going through an injury crisis, especially Newcastle. And look at how good they are. Man United were using their injury crisis as an excuse. It can be an excuse. All teams are not the
Yeah,
same, and it's not
yeah,
a bread and butter thing or apple and oranges thing. It can be things affect teams differently. I'm just just wondering why when it comes to affecting the teams, it affects Man United quite differently.
yeah,
It's going to be a tough one for Spurs to make top four. It's also going to be
yeah,
a tough one for Newcastle. I think the top three are set. I think Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City are the top three.
yeah,
So Aston Villa, Newcastle, and Spurs are fighting for three positions. I think Aston Villa will come short. They're the
yeah.
of those three teams. They have the smallest squad and they're the weakest of the three.
Mhm.
Newcastle have a disadvantage with playing in Europe. And we'll even talk about Newcastle in Europe very soon. But that might end up affecting them negatively because they have extra games. Spurs, they're not playing anywhere, so I think they have a chance. But between these three teams, they have a tough battle for that final place. I don't think Man United or Chelsea will make it. I'm mentioning Chelsea because when you look at expected points,
Mm.
it's weird, but Chelsea actually, if they got the points they were supposed to get, are fifth or fourth or fifth. It's a weird thing. Chelsea's form
I
is weird.
no, I can't. I've watched Chelsea play too many times. I just can't see them. They're not. This is not the year. Like they're
Mm-mm.
not making Europe. I don't think they're making Europe. I don't think they're gonna make a run for it. They just have to just believe in their system, whatever they're doing right now, and I mean, Cool comes in next year again. So just believe in the system, stick with it, and see where it takes you guys. But it's I don't think I can't really say much for Chelsea to be honest. And
There's a good chance they're in the top 7 or 8 teams at the end of the
yeah,
season. There's a very good
yeah,
chance.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
if
can
they
see
if
that.
they play better, they might end up sixth. But I think they're better than Man United. I think their position is 4.
Chelsea?
Yes, I think they are.
Uh,
You know,
uh,
as a team, yeah, they have this Jekyll and Hyde kind of performances. They swing
mm,
up and down, one end to the other. But
mm. I don't, I don't see Newcastle. I don't see Chelsea. I mean, let me not bite
Every
my, let me
Brito
not
is
bite
on
it first
fire,
time.
man. He
So
says they're not even going to make the anniversary. Who's he talking about? Chelsea?
it doesn't Chelsea. Nah, it's I can't see Chelsea really do much. I just can't see it honestly. I honestly do not think as bad. I won't say as bad as we are, but I don't think they're. I don't think they're. I don't think they're better than us. Honestly, I guess we'll find out this week, right? So
Oh,
this
we're playing
coming
them
week,
next, right? Or is it?
yeah, we're playing them next Wednesday, I believe.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
This that's December 5th or 6th. Yeah, we're playing them next, I believe.
Oh,
So
man, thank God I'm
in
at work,
midweek
man.
game.
I'm at work. Oh, I'm not going to be watching that, thankfully. I do not have, no, I do not have the energy for Man United right now. No, no, no. Yeah, it's possible I'll watch it. It's possible I might not. If it's Wednesday, I might be off work.
we're staying away from United, huh? This
Yes,
is the new plan.
yes, it is. It
No,
is.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Harry Bitokun says apologies for the typo. Oh, that's all right. We understand what you were saying. It was quite obvious. Yeah, let's move on. Let's look at the best Champions League group:
Oof,
PSG,
the group that keeps
Newcastle,
on giving.
Dortmund, and Milan. That's a wonderful group.
Oh my God. Every
That's a
game hasn't
wonderful group.
disappointed.
None, not
Every
even
game
one.
has not disappointed.
Yes,
That
it's
group keeps giving. And I think just watching Newcastle in that group has given me a newfound respect for Eddie Howe. Like I never took Eddie Howe seriously back in Bournemouth, but like this is giving me a newfound respect for what these guys are doing there. And the fact, despite injury, like these guys were filling in the gaps with their players. They're literally
yeah,
just filling in the gaps. And
yeah.
from the Miley kid, look at Livermore. It's the same Livermore that used to play around in
That's him.
Southampton.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
same
from, yeah, from
Livermore,
Chelsea
Southampton.
Academy. Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
it's crazy how everybody just fits in swiftly back, like nothing happened. Like Dunk is not there. All these guys, like they just put everybody back there, like nothing is happening.
Yeah, but
Everything is back to normal.
when you have a team ethos and the team buys into it and the team is playing well, it's easy for
Mm,
some anybody coming in to know what they're doing. It's like walking into a if you open a brand new business and you employ people,
yeah, but
when they come in, they all try to feel around, trying to know what they're doing, and it takes time for them to bed in. Whereas if the business has already been running for years and you employ people, they come in, the other people tell them, no, 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 that's not what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. So they kind of have an idea quickly
I
what is
agree with
expected
you.
of them and know what they're
But
doing.
look at what happened to Arsenal when they lost Odegaard for 2 games. Look at how things calmed down a little bit.
That's right.
Like the fact that they moved the piece and these guys still figured it out. And like even live, I mean, Newcastle just impressed me in that group. I
Yeah,
mean, I think their last game against PSG, they were robbed. They should have.
yeah,
They were just robbed. I mean, that was just highway robbery. But still, I guess karma, because the same thing happened against them and Arsenal. So
yes. And,
call it what
and
you want to call it.
and they were lucky to even get a draw against AC Milan. That was a
Mm,
game they should have lost.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That
so
is true. That is
it
true.
kind of evens itself out.
Evens out, yeah.
Yeah, because they should have lost the AC Milan game. AC Milan had like 20 shots on target, if I
It
remember
was
that game
madness.
correctly. It was,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was, and they just couldn't score. It was one of those games you're watching and wondering what kind of
What is
juju are these
happening?
people on? What kind of juju are these people on? Okay,
No,
Henry's saying Man United are slightly above Chelsea with their rebuild, though. It goes, what's saving Chelsea is their youthfulness. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good point.
hmm hmm
And he goes,
Yeah.
yes, you're correct. Like his plug and play for Newcastle, considering their injury record. Against Man United, they got away with a possible red card too. That's right. It goes with the
Who was
Bruno
that?
tackle. That tackle that Bruno Guimaraes made. It was a tackle. The stamp.
Was it supposed to be a straight red?
It could have been a red. It could have been a straight
Oh,
red. It could have been a red. But I still think they deserve that. They deserve to win that game. But
oh,
and
absolutely.
this year, it's like all the years of referee decisions going in our favor, they're all coming to bite us this season because I do not understand. I watched the Man City game today, and they didn't give Man City penalty for pull on Akanji. It's the same pool that they gave a penalty against Man
No,
United for. Like they just keep
no,
this.
that one.
Hmm.
I think that was no, that was, I would have called that a penalty.
No, I wouldn't. But they shouldn't have
Yeah,
called that penalty against Hoyland either. That was not really a penalty.
yeah,
It's like it's the same thing like Spurs against Arsenal. They give a penalty for a handball. They say his hand is up here, but the guy was right in front of him. It was very close. Then turn
yeah.
around and go, oh, against Man United, this guy takes a shot. He blocks it with his hand. They go, he couldn't do anything about it. And I go, okay, where's the consistency? Then of course you now see the Newcastle penalty. So There it goes. Yeah, the refs are inconsistent.
The refs
And it
have
is
been a
sickness.
shamble.
It
It's been
is.
a shamble this season so far.
I thought VR would take out controversies, but since VR has given us more reason to talk, because now
More
people now
reason.
go, the conspiracy theories are increasing because people are going, I told you.
Hmm.
That's what it kind of
Hmm.
looks like. Because it looks like, guy, there shouldn't be these mistakes. The other mistakes you're expecting, but these mistakes you don't expect. And this is
I agree.
consistently becoming annoying. Yeah,
Every day, every
that's
game,
right.
and I feel the refs are officiating with fear now. There's a lot of fear in refs in the sense that, like, when because now some of the refs are getting demoted
Yeah,
based
but
on calls, or they're
they
getting
should be.
suspended.
They should
And
be.
I agree, but at the same time, it's like a lot of them are not. I've seen refs that, like, oh, they're questioning some of their decisions. There's not enough firmness in making a call in
Yeah, but
game and things like that. And but
the rest should
with all
be
that is happening,
if they're making, especially with decisions from VAR, like when UEFA comes out and says, "Oh, the ref made a mistake after the game," I go, what difference does it make now?" Anybody watching the game from outside could see that was not the right decision. So why would the VAR recommend that the decision be reviewed in the first place? Then after recommending the review, nah, I just think they're just making this human element thing. We should tamp down on saying this human element thing, because if you're giving everything and you make a meal out of it, it's your fault. It's not really. It's not really because you're human. Because yeah, I know humans make mistakes, but we shouldn't excuse every mistake as being human. That mistake against Newcastle, for example, was a terrible one. If that ref gets demoted, the VAR guy gets demoted, I would agree with it because it's
that's
the right
the
thing
in
to
the
do.
Champions League,
Yes,
the PSG penalty. That was
yes,
a crime. That was a crime.
that was a crime, man.
That was
Yeah,
a crime.
yeah. Henry goes.
Um,
VAR is now the controversy. It's their job, bro. We're simply asking. What we're simply asking for is consistency. And he's right. Henry's right, because what is very annoying is you make a decision in this game. You admit it's a mistake. Then the next game you don't make that decision
you're
because
now
you
using
agree it's
another
a
judgment
mistake.
call. Yeah.
Then in the third or the fourth game later, you now make the same decision that you have already agreed is a mistake, and then you try and justify it. Like I remember they were showing videos of Mike Riley from last year or the year before when he was making defending refs who made mistakes, and because he had a TV show he comes on in England, and he talks about refereeing decisions, and he tries talks about what the ref is thinking and all of that. Guys now showed how inconsistent he is, because last year he was saying one thing about the decision because the decision went one way. Then come
Mhm.
this season when the decision went another way, he goes around and starts defending it differently, and then people say, here's this guy talking about the same situation in one instance. Here's he's talking about the same situation in another instance. All he's simply doing is trying to tell you that the refs are right. That's all he's doing. That's the only thing he's consistently doing, because he would turn around what he said yesterday to say something else today because he just wants to say the refs are right. So,
Yeah.
so who do you think will qualify? Of course, Dortmund are true.
Yeah.
Looking at the table, Dortmund are true.
This is
Uh,
one group that you can't even call at this point. Like, if you look at the games, Dortmund did beat PSG once, I believe.
yes.
I think it
Hmm.
was the first game, or I don't know, but at the same time, it's like I don't think they want to risk finishing
Second,
second because technically it's in their
Dortmund did not beat
hands.
PSG. PSG beat Dortmund 2
Oh, they
nil.
never. Oh, that was the first game. That's my bad. That was
Yes.
the first. I think
Yes.
that was the first game. That's my bad.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that maybe Dortmund might just look. You know what? Let's settle for a draw. Just keep it consistent because those guys now to lock. They can decide to do whatever they want to do, but I don't think they want to risk being in second place. PSG, PSG will come with death in that game. That's for sure.
That's right.
They're gonna come like a lot. It's gonna be a do or die situation. So honestly speaking, I can see PSG just beating Dortmund and the both of them just go through and keep it simple. Dortmund will fight, but PSG they're coming with way too much animosity. They're just they've they've scaled through by the skin of their teeth. They're just gonna make it. I think they're gonna make it through. Whatever Newcastle and Milan want to do is inconsequential.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about. Okay, Newcastle beat PSG once, if I'm correct,
Yeah, yeah,
and then they drew with them. So Newcastle have the
yes,
head
sir.
on head on PSG. So if PSG ties and Newcastle,
No, but they
uh,
do goal difference. Did they do head on head?
they do head on head first. Head on head is the
Really?
tiebreaker. Yes.
No, but I thought it was goal difference then head on head.
No, it's head on head first.
You sure?
If I'm correct,
Hmm.
the it
I thought it was goal difference first, then head
okay.
on head. But
I'll,
maybe you're
I'll
right. We can look it up
um
after.
yeah, I will find it out while we're speaking. I feel Newcastle and AC Milan are out. I think they'll cancel each other out.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah,
Honestly, I can't see. I don't see a case where Dortmund. I don't see a case where PSG doesn't beat Dortmund on the
it's
12th
it's
or
it's
who
a
calls
way.
it?
Yeah, tiebreakers in the Champions League, points in head-to-head games among tied teams, goal difference in head-to-head games. It's head on
Yeah,
head first.
yeah.
They're
Ah,
doing head-to-head
okay.
first before goal difference.
Hmm.
So Newcastle have the tiebreaker on AC Milan on PSG. I don't think
Hmm.
AC Milan has a tiebreaker on PSG. I know they beat them, they beat each other, but I think PSG, the ones PSG beat 3-0, if I'm correct. So
Hmm.
PSG has the tiebreaker. So we're looking at a situation where if AC Milan wins and Newcastle ties, and sorry, and PSG ties, PSG is true. If PSG ties and Newcastle wins, Newcastle is true.
Based on head.
Based on head, yes. But but I just know one of them is going to. I'll be very happy if Newcastle goes to Europa League though.
To keep them occupied, huh?
To keep them occupied, yes. I don't want them to have free weekdays. Yes, no, no, no. I don't want them to have free weekdays at all.
At least make
Yeah.
that at least get out third at the very least.
At the very least, yes. While at the same time, I'm hoping Man United does not qualify for Europa League. I hope we come last. Yeah, we're not
Just
going to qualify, so we might as well as come last.
minimize it. Even if we qualify, we have no business there.
Yeah, we have no business
We have
qualifying, so
honestly have no business there.
we should
To be
come
honest.
last, please. Henry says anyone can still qualify from that group. Yes, apart from
Yeah,
Dortmund, who are true, any of the other three can still go home. One person must chop premium breakfast. Actually, it's two
absolutely.
people. It's two people. It's AC Milan or Newcastle, most likely now. But PSG could still chop premium breakfast, and that would be so funny.
That I would actually do my soul right.
Yeah.
I want to look at the look on Mbappe's face if that happens. Like I really want to. I just want to see that happen. If anything, I doubt. I can't see them not beating Dortmund though.
Yeah. Well, anything can happen. They're going to go
Yeah,
all out.
yeah.
They're going to go all out.
Oh yeah,
All right.
it's gonna be a heck of a team. Yeah,
I will be watching that one. I think maybe, maybe not. I think it's in 2 weeks. Yeah, I should be watching that one. It's the following
it's the
week that I won't be
13th.
able to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I should
12th,
be
13th.
watching that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's start rounding up. Right. I know it's been an
Okay.
eventful week of football.
Hmm.
So let's do kudos and donkeys of the week before we leave.
For sure.
Sorry, I'm a bit on a downer today myself. I woke up with a cold. I woke up with a head
It's
cold. The temperature swings in
it's
Texas is
going around.
weird. Weird. It's
um,
we're going
you
from very warm days, cold nights to sometimes cold days
and
and cold nights, and then sometimes it's rainy. All in December.
in the
So we've had it in this December. We've November to December now. This last 2 weeks we've had 80 something degrees weather. We've had 70 something degrees, averaging 70 something degrees in the daytime and 40 something, 50 something at
at
night.
night. Oh my
Yeah, so
god.
it's almost a 20-degree swing at
Drop.
night.
No,
Yeah. So it's been
hang in there, bro.
yeah. So let's start with kudos. You got any kudos this week?
Honestly, my own kudos will probably be I'll probably give Eddie Howe and Newcastle what they've been doing, man. Like it's beyond impressive to me. And in doing it in such a short time, what he has brought this team to, like this team has shown it can compete both in the league, in the world, everywhere. Like it's incredible.
That's
That's my
right.
kudos, if anything.
Fair enough. My kudos
Yours?
this week will go to Spurs.
Mm,
Despite their issues, they still went to Newcastle, to Man City,
mm.
played a good game, gave us a very exciting game of football, and I'm impressed with Angie. Like I called him a breath of fresh air earlier, and I'm not hoping he does well, but I'm just saying he's doing well. Let me leave it like
Fair,
that.
fair
Yeah,
enough. Well, simple. Well said.
yeah.
Very
My
well
donkey
said.
of the week goes to the referee and VAR, especially the one in the Newcastle game,
Oh my
Newcastle
God.
PSG game. That is, oh my goodness, that is, excuse me, that is embarrassing, man. Yeah, that's my donkey of the week. You have any donkey for
I
this week?
was I didn't I was initially going to put my coach there, but my conscience won't let me. I was gonna put one of our players there, but my loyalty knows no bounds. I can't do it. I couldn't do
Ooh,
it, so it will probably go to the referees too. And
all right.
like the same way you put it there, that's for me.
So we
Yeah.
have another unanimous donkey. We've been getting unanimous donkeys a lot lately. Yeah, it's a unanimous donkey this week. The referees
Yeah.
and VAR, they,
It's
as
madness,
Henry
man.
said,
It's
they have now
madness.
become the controversy. When you play a football game and the referees are the topic of
That control
discussion, you know they're not doing their job because they're supposed to be silent. No one's supposed to see them.
is madness.
It is, man. Thank you,
Oh
Chudi.
boy.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, my bro.
It was one of the shortest and quickest podcasts we've had this week, this
Bro.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there'll be more
We
content. Very busy
we
this
didn't we didn't have the
football.
usual crowd.
Yeah, if we had more people, it would have been. I mean, that's the advantage
Plenty.
sometimes of having two people. We can get through things quicker. Because,
Yeah.
excuse me, man, this is getting worse. Yeah, I think it's
Take
even
a
good for
rest
me to
though.
stop talking, man. Yeah, go drink some water and take a rest.
I
All right, thank
appreciate
you
you
for
logging
coming on,
on, man.
Judy. Thank you to
For
everyone that
sure.
was viewing. See you guys next week. Thank you.
For
Bye
sure.
bye.
Take care, bro. All right.
Thanks. You too.